Welcome to the Surgical Assistant Podcast, a podcast crafted by surgical assistants for surgical assistants, where professionalism meets passion. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Surgical Assistant Podcast. I am Kelly, and as usual, joined by John. Hello, John. How are you today?
Hey, Kelly, I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm good.
Excellent.
And today we have a special guest with us, and he has appeared with us before and recorded with us before, Jason Bonavito from Charleston, South Carolina. How are you, Jason?
I'm well. Thanks for having me.
Great. Good. We're so excited to have you back on. Some of you may remember Jason if you watched our breast series. We did a 3-part breast series. It's excellent to listen to. Jason was gracious enough to share with us on the second episode of that, talking about reconstruction. I'm just going to give us a little plug there. Reconstruction of the breast after mastectomy. And he gave us some great tips and was a very thorough discussion on that. And today he is here with us. We're talking about fitness for the first assistant and talking about some of our special challenges we have physically during surgery and for really any OR professional, just being on your feet, the physical demands that this job has on us. We know that it wears and tears on our body over time, especially. And so, especially if you're a young professional coming into this career, it's going to be a great episode for you. So we're excited to kick that off today. Any housekeeping things we need to talk about today, John?
No, not that I can think of.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think we're plugging along. We appreciate all the feedback that we're getting, and I continue to hear from people here and there that have found the podcast, and we just really hope to be a resource and a help to those that are out there. And so we're going to jump in today. And Jason, just to remind us, tell us a little bit about yourself and just remind the listener, if they didn't hear the episode before, let us know about who you are, where you are, and why we specifically wanted you to come on this podcast today.
Excellent. Well, again, thanks for having me, John Kelly. So I'm a certified surgical first assist that's been doing this for 10 years in Charleston. Prior to this, I was in New York City. And I've started to realize in my career that I was coming into surgeries and being exhausted by the end of the day. Almost getting to a point where I was like locking up and kind of physically not in great shape. So I started to take into account my life. If I'm going to be able to enjoy my career, I got to start taking care of myself. So I decided to kind of break loose on full-time surgical assisting, and I got into personal training. I took my own life back in order, getting myself into a better lifestyle. And then I realized there's kind of like how we do surgical procedures. There's a start to it, a middle, and an end. And I figured out how to kind of get your body and your lifestyle in order to really work for our profession. So I started the company that I'm wearing my logo here. It's Medi Pro Fitness, which is medical, professional, and fitness, merging them together. And I mean, I can tell you right now, I'm in the best shape of my life. I can operate all day long, all night long. But I want to share this now. I want other people to not struggle. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm really enjoying it.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's great.
Excellent.
So we kind of all have that knowledge that, physical fitness is important. And we've all been on different personal journeys. Some people struggle with different things physically and whatnot. But it's kind of there's a difference in having a knowledge and then putting it into practice and preparing our bodies and helping our bodies to do the work that we're asking it to do. So I want to talk about, for those of you that don't know, and maybe with Jason's permission, we could put like a transformation pic of you up on this podcast episode, because it will give you an appreciation for the work that he's put in for himself and how he has transformed his physical appearance and his physical well-being.
Sure.
And that has in turn helped your mental and emotional well-being as well. And I can attest to that. When you take care of yourself physically, it helps you mentally, and it's a well-rounded philosophy. So, and that's just going to help us do our jobs better. So I did want to, and John, please jump in, raise your hand or whatever. Give me the high sign if you need to talk, because
Sure.
there are just some things that I know I struggle with as a female. And I will go ahead and address the gender differences. I'm a female, so naturally I am weaker. I feel like for most females, we have to work harder at strengthening our muscles and getting muscle strength built up so that we don't fatigue as easily in surgery. And some of the harder cases to do that in, I'm going to call out a mastectomy. When
Yeah.
we're retracting to the ceiling and they need that hard retraction, pulling straight up, and you have to sit there in that position for a long time. That's just one example. There's
Mhm.
orthopedic surgeries, there's open abdominal surgeries where
Mhm.
we're having to hold literally dynamic, just like
Mhm.
strength. I mean, I've been quivering, and if you start getting this cramping and this burning, and so we are going to talk today about, and I was just in a vaginal case not too long ago. It was an AP
Mhm.
repair, and the surgeon acts like he doesn't know anything about a Lone Star retractor. So not only are you having to get in different positions and hold your arm at a very unnatural position, retracting for the surgeon, but
Yeah.
you're having to squeeze in between the stirrup. And it's just, and I'm thinking to myself, there is an easier way, there's a better way. So we're going to try to cover a really gamut of some practical advice, some practical tips from Jason. I'm going to let him start talking in just a minute, and we're going to go into some things intraoperatively that you can think about, some considerations in managing these specific scenarios. I know John has been doing this way long enough that he's going to have some good tips. He's going to know things I don't know because he always does. And so
Right.
let's just delve off into that and just bouncing off kind of what I just talked about, Jason. I want you to jump in there.
So actually, I think you basically nailed it on the head, and it's the fact that we are always put in this predicament where our bodies are controlling. We're trying to retract from across the room or across the table, holding straight up, and you start to lock up. You start to notice your muscles are burning, and it's a real thing. I had a surgeon I worked with who called me the spider attachment. Like I'm like, so you don't want to use the
Mhm.
spider? You want me to hold the arm up while you're doing the work? Like
Wow.
this is crazy. So talking about how everyone is affected, right? It all comes to like what we have to do outside of the OR. I'm gonna be serious with you. Like I realized for all the retracting I do, and I do a ton of breast spaces, ton of mastectomy, that I was holding my arms out at a lower than my shoulder height, right? And my rhomboids, which is below your traps, like in the middle of your back, the middle would lock up and it would seize up.
Mhm.
And I would literally like it's taking my breath away.
Mm.
So I started, right, focusing and saying, all right, I figured out without a gym, without anything, there's certain things, even in your home, you can grab, right? Let's say 2 milk jugs, you can empty or whatever they are. You can do lateral raises, which is going to start working on your anterior delts, right? So your shoulder muscles, the kind of hold. And then you want to get into like where you're focusing on your back. So like almost doing like a bend over, like you're naturally bending over and you're picking things up that are relatively heavy. That strengthens the center of your back as long as it's not systemic dorsal. These are really
Mm.
key things, right? That strengthen over time, just doing them three sets up to 10 or 12. And after a while, you're holding retraction instead of it being 20 minutes and you're like, I'm done. You're 35, 40 minutes. You can just go. So the stronger muscular that I've been getting, personally, I don't feel any of that stuff anymore. Not, dude. I'm holding retraction. I'm like, oh my God, this is night and day as opposed to where it was before. I like building little routines for people regarding what they're having trouble with. My clientele and my clients are nurses that have certain job duties, lifting patients, rolling patients, whatever it might be. And we focus on the injuries or the things they're having trouble with. The surgical assistant is going to be upper body. It's going to be our lower backs. It's going to be your legs are locking up. There's so many different things. And we can dive into like what muscle groups you should work on. But really it's just a full body thing. I think health and fitness, lifestyle is the key to everything, right? I lost a lot of weight. I lost 115 pounds. That was not dieting. That was not Ozempic. There was no pills, no nothing, no magic, no magic. It literally was lifestyle. I changed my lifestyle. I worked out every day. I did something. It wasn't even incredible. It was 15 minutes on I lifted, but it was something done every day and then eating healthy. And when people think eating healthy, they may not understand what that really means, but it's just changing what you're currently doing, which is probably not good. And I'm not a nutritionalist. I'm not a dietitian. I
Right.
can't tell people what to eat, but I can tell you, don't eat nuts. Stay away from eating Chick-fil-A 3-4 times a week. The energy drinks every single day is probably not great. It's tough, but like that, we're talking, what I'm talking to hits every single one of the surgical assistants, surgical technologists, nurses, every single one of them was thinking, yeah, I have an energy drink every day. I don't eat a great lunch. I might not even have breakfast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Health and nutrition is everything about what we do for a living. Exactly. Like without that, we're working ourselves to a point where we're not going to survive. We're going to just get through the day and struggle and hurt and then go home and be miserable and just start all over. It's never ending. Right? How many trays you guys lift in an orthopedic day? You do a total joint. You go back and forth from room to room, or maybe you do 4 joints a day. There's 4 to 5 trays. They're all 35, right? 35 pounds. I think they're supposed to be. Some of them are way heavier. You're picking them up the low shoulder, up high and over. I mean, you get injured. People get injured all the time, and there's ways around it. I really feel like it could help at least guide or teach people ways to better themselves so that your career is just something you go to do every day and you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
You guys agree?
Yep. I do.
Completely, yeah.
Yeah. John, what about you? Do you have, as a man, and I know you work out pretty regularly, do you have any cases that you struggle with? Or for me, one of them is like vascular. If I'm in a long vascular case and looking down, it's my neck,
Yeah.
and it's these traps get tight. Most often will have at least a slight tension headache the next day just because and so just learning like even some neck stretches and shoulder rolls and again, even along with strengthening those muscles. But what about you, John?
Yeah, I mean, thank you, Jason, for that. That was very informative. And it's true. I mean, to piggyback on what you said and not to make too fine a point of it, but we work in a highly stressful environment. It's physically stressful, it's emotionally stressful, and I could only speak for myself, but I tend to sublimate that stress, I tend to eat. It's a journey for me to develop healthy habits. I've been sporadic with the gym because sometimes work interferes and nothing seems to be 24 hours anymore. I mean, the town I'm working in, it's a great little town. They have a Planet Fitness, but it's not open 24 hours every day. Some days it is. But I bought myself some bands from a guy that developed a combat strength training program, and he uses these bands and they come in all different weights and their quality. I haven't broken one yet. I don't know anybody that's broken one. He'll send you a new one if you do break them. But I like in our job too, surgical twister. I mean, how many times have you guys had the doc says, hey, come up to the top and hold this retractor? So now you got to sneak around people and you're leaning over and you're holding a retractor up completely with your back or your shoulder and muscles that we don't actively use all the time in our regular daily lives. And it's easily fatiguing. I've had a carpal tunnel done. I need another one done. A lot of people get rotator cuff injuries from this job. Back injuries are common. I mean, injuries are common in this job just because of what we do. And I find that strengthening in these exercises are important. And we spend our lives looking down for a living. I mean, I catch myself all the time. My posture is terrible when I'm closing and I like make a point to like sit up. And ideally you should be standing up straight and your arm should be at a 90-degree angle at your elbow when you're working. That's not always possible. But I always try to do that. Like if the surgeon's taller than me, I'll get a step stool so I can be up higher and do that. But for vaginal hysterectomies, that's difficult. I'm a bigger guy. My shoulders are kind of broad. So if there's another doc that's a male down there, I don't fit between the legs. I just don't. So I've started going around to the top, putting a step stool and reaching over. But then that lends itself to much more issues because you're leaning over and you're pulling in directions that you don't normally do. It's very fatiguing. Yeah, and then I try to rest when I can. Like if it's not imperative that they see really well, like if they're not about to tie the knot down, then I just lax up while they're doing what they're doing. So it gives me a second to rest. And then when they need to push that knot all the way down, then I really crank on it to give them what they need to see, whether that's whatever retractor. But I think, like you said, diet is important. And I think we sacrifice convenience for our health. Some hospitals that are bigger, they may have a fast food joint in them. I've been to hospitals that have had Burger King, Subway, McDonald's in them. And a lot of times it's easier than meal prepping because we don't have a lot of time because of our work lives. And let's face it, we don't always have that choice. But what I've been trying to do is make healthier choices in the cafeteria, have a salad with some kind of protein on it. I don't always do it, I'll be honest, but it's a process. It's not an event. I'm trying to make
Right.
small changes over time. But because I don't want my body to completely break down physiologically, metabolically, these things take their toll over time. Eating it, processed food and a lot of refined sugar, it's like a nuclear bomb in our body. So, and I don't believe in drugs like Ozempic. I think they have much more problems than they save for a small group of people. Maybe they're beneficial, but I mean, there's just too many issues with them. I mean, from what I've read on it and I've listened to a lot about it, 50% of your weight loss is muscle. That's not good. That's
That's
starvation.
good. That's absolutely correct. John, you hit that right on the button. I was going to interrupt you. Ozempic is slowing down your process of your digestive tract, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're not eating, so you're not supplying what your body needs to keep it maintained or running, especially the protein.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't change your diet, you just can't eat as much. You're not eating good foods. Your body
That's right.
wastes away. It wastes away.
Yeah.
We already know this. It's already in the medical journals. So I mean, if it works, it does work, right? It has helped a lot of people get where they need to be. But then people like myself who are in the business that understand the mechanics of it, like I have to tell my clients who are you are on, you have to increase your protein intake. I don't care how you're doing it. You have to get the protein in. You will lose weight. You will not be hungry. But if we get the protein in and we still do the maintenance of muscle building, you're going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we said before, healthy lifestyle is the key. I stopped using the word diet because I felt diet was changing something temporary. Like I was dieting to do and then going back. I personally changed things in my life. I have not gone back to. I have not taken soda. I used to drink soda daily. I used to eat French fries and cheeseburgers daily in the hospital because it was convenient and quick. Like you run down to the cafeteria and cheeseburger French fries, they're already kind of made. I just take it and get a Coca-Cola and eat my lunch and go back. I do meal prep. It does take a little bit of effort, but that has been a game changer. And I recommend everybody that listens to this podcast to consider putting a little bit of effort during the weekend to get yourself set up for the week and watch what happens. Mark my words. Watch what happens if you can kind of get. And I'm going to be honest. I'm not a dietitian, but I could tell you that salads are good, but too many salads during the week kind of mess up your GI system, right? Salad is a roughage. So it kind of goes through the system, kind of scraping along, taking away a lot of things that build up. So if I have 3 salads in a week or 3 or 4, my stomach's kind of like, ooh, it's a little beat up. So balance is key. Carbohydrates, proteins, healthier choices. I don't know if you guys knew this. I kind of learned this along the way. The whites, the white breads, the white rices, the pastas, they don't break down as well. And if I was going to go for a run, 5-mile run, yeah, I'd have a bowl of pasta. But if I'm not going for that run, it's not really going to do myself justice. If I'm just doing what's normal daily work. If I'm going to work in the hospital, like I don't need a huge meal. I just need enough that's going to sustain that day. So it's really important. It sounds funny. I mean, nutrition is like probably one of the biggest keys to having a good lifestyle. There's 3 big keys, guys. I'm going to tell you this. This is a personal training thing, and it really doesn't have much to do with surgery, but it will change your life. Healthy food, daily exercise, and good sleep. That's really all your body is going to require, right? We get the stressors. The stressors are going to be there. Stress of life, stress of family, home, work, all of it. They're always going to be there, and those are the things you have to maintenance. But if you can put those other things aside and just focus on eating healthy, doing some type of exercise, and getting good night's sleep, and everything else is just not worry. That's only other things I have to worry about, stressor.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But for the personal assistant, we have a different job, right? We have a job that's demanding, physical, and we do have a lot more stress than most. And handling that stress is just going to be a difficult challenge. Working long days, finding the meal, finding the time to exercise, right? Like John, the gym's not open. Like, so you have to figure out well, I can't do it. There's a little trick that you can do. Whenever you leave the job, if it's early enough, don't go straight home. Go straight to the gym. Statistics say if you go straight from work to home, there's a higher rate you're not going to make it out of the home. So you kind of put that gym in between work and home, and you kind of get it done. You get your foot in the door of the gym or any type of place. If you go from the hospital a field and do some exercises, some running, whatever, 1,000,000% you're going to feel like you've accomplished something when you get home and you're like, that was better than doing nothing.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
a trick, Jason, that I learned from other runners when I have been training for half marathons, and I'm not naturally a runner. I won't even go into that. I'm not built to run. I'm a very slow runner, but it has taking part in runs. It has when I sign up for a run and I've paid the registration, what I'm goal oriented. So when I have a goal, then I'm stubborn enough and I'm going to keep at it. But those days, and I got this tip from runner that if you just don't feel like going out and training, and this applies to after I've worked a 12-hour shift and the gym is
Mhm.
not long and not far from the hospital,
Mhm.
I tell myself 10 minutes.
That's
Kelly,
it.
all
Yeah.
you have to do is 10 minutes. That's
Mhm.
it. That's it. And
Yeah.
you so I'm giving myself permission to only do 10 minutes, but it's better than nothing. And
Absolutely.
odds are I'm going to do so. I'm going to be in there
Mhm.
longer than 10
Longer
minutes
than that, yeah.
because if I walk for a mile on the treadmill, well, that's going to take me longer than 10 minutes. But if I do
Yeah.
a mile on the treadmill and I'm tired and I'm exhausted and I'm leaving. I'm leaving as soon as I'm done with this. Is when I get closer to that mile, I'm like, okay, I can go do 5 minutes on the arm machine. I can go do the leg press for a few
Mhm.
minutes. That's just the way
Mhm.
my brain works. And so you're exactly right.
Yeah.
And even if I come home and say, I'm going to do my 14-minute fitness app and I'm going to do my 14-minute arm workout. I know I can do that. I'm familiar with that workout. And I know it's going to be 14 minutes. I can do 14 minutes and then go get in the shower and go to bed if that's what I want to do, if that's what I feel like I need to do. But yeah, just getting those little increments in and being more consistent. And I'm preaching to the choir when I talk about that because consistency is definitely my issue. I'll do
Mhm.
good for a week or two and I'll
Mhm.
come and do a hard workout and do my squat workout. And then I'm sore for a few days. So I'm like, oh, I'm sore and I'm limping around and I don't do my stretches and I don't come back 2 days later and continue the workouts. And so consistency is key for all of us. And it's a challenge, but I think as long as we're minded enough to be mindful and intentional about it and helping, again, think of it as helping our bodies and not keeping that pressure off of us. We're not trying to look a certain way or
Mhm.
put all that pressure on us. I just want to help
Right.
my body do the job that I love, do the career that I
Exactly.
love. Right, John? We
Exactly.
talk about that all the time. And I feel like when you change your mindset and your perspective, I think it helps you like even through the day. Like I need to fuel my body. Those Dunkin' Donuts that are in the break room, they look good. In my
Mhm.
mind, they look good, but I'm like,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
gonna
you're
be
right.
crap
Trash.
in my body. I'm gonna feel like crap later if I eat that. And that helps me actually not to do it really does. I'll
Correct.
go to my
Yeah.
lunchbox and grab that plum or I eat a yogurt or something that I've brought
Mo-
in my lunch bag. So
I love it.
just being intentional with those kind of things. And hydration, I can't speak.
Yeah.
Listen, I am the
Mhm.
worst about staying hydrated. And y'all, it's hard.
It's
It's
tough in
hard
our
when you're
job.
in
It's
case
hard.
after case after case. And I've gone, even recently, I have gone, y'all, it'll be 4 o'clock and I'm going to the bathroom for the first time. I'm just gonna be honest.
Well,
I'm
Yeah.
like, Kelly,
Yeah.
what the are you doing to your kidneys? I mean, what
correct.
are you doing? So I have personally, I've got to find a strategy, and they keep bottled water in there for us, but I have got to
Mhm.
find a better strategy of going and just like having a cup that I can visualize and say, okay, I've got to get down to the end of that. But go ahead, Jason.
Mhm.
So just exactly what you just said. It's trying to find time, but also not being able to get the volume that you need. So what I recommend, and I've been
Mhm.
doing this myself, is IV hydration packets. Right. So
Mhm.
these are
Oh,
electrolytes,
yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
sodium and magnesium, but all the good things that your body requires. So you don't have to get the volume of liquid that you need, the volume of water. If you add this to your drink, you're getting 3 times the amount. Basically, you're getting what you require from water, but not in the
Mhm.
volume where if I drink a whole 25, 30 ounce thing of water, I'm going to be going to the bathroom twice. I'm going to break scrum twice.
Yeah.
But if I had a decent amount of cup with half the path of hydration, I have 3 times the amount of water in a smaller amount of volume.
Mhm.
Then I'm actually just kind of doing justice with my body. But you're right. Surgical technologists, surgical assistants, the whole gamut, even nurses, but nurses get to kind of run out. Circulators get to run out and drink water for
Mhm.
that. We're kind of like hurting our bodies. Now, I personally have never had kidney stones, but I have known a ton of my coworkers all over from New York to here that have had issues with this because we're just not supplying that our body needs. We're building up all these calcifications because we're just not flushing the body.
Mm-hmm.
It is dangerous, but unfortunately, but that's what I'm saying. If we add the hydration tablets to the small amount, they're not that expensive.
No.
You will find that you won't be beyond thirsty or getting that secondary dehydration.
So that's a little hack. That is a little cheat. I'm glad you brought that up because I was specifically going to ask you that if you recommended it. And again, we are not medical doctors. We are not professionals. We are not giving any medical advice. Please check with your doctor before you go guzzling electrolyte drinks all day long. Don't. But these are just, we're trying to give ourselves little tips of ways. Volume and hydration in volume is good for you, and drinking pure water is good for you. But in a pinch, it does make a difference getting those electrolytes in. So if that's what we have to do, to get us through a pinch. I want to jump back in to the actual intraoperative scene here and just give our listener that's listening some advice from those of us that have been doing this a while. So when you're in that surgery that's requiring a lot of your muscles. Now, I appreciate working with surgeons that will look at me and say, "Are you okay? Do you need a break?" A lot of times I'm stubborn. I don't want to hold up the case, and I'm like, I got it. So let's talk about that for a minute and some ways that we can make suggestions, and especially if the surgeon's not kind of worried about how we're doing, that sometimes we need to speak up and say, "Hey, I need a break. For just a second." There's a balance. We don't want to be that person that's constantly saying, "Oh, this hurts." Please don't do that. We have a patient to take care of. But just some tips from all of us, kind of, if we can pitch in, just how to suggest like some self-retaining retractors if they're not on the field, or ways that we can kind of communicate our discomfort and the fact that we need just to take a second break, or even the tip of having a step stool nearby, because it helps. Obviously, guys, just propping your foot up on a stool helps your body mechanics and takes some pressure off your spine, even, and where you have one foot elevated and not standing in one spot, one position for too long with your knees locked. And, you kind of need to move around a little bit to feel better and for it to be better on your musculoskeletal system. So I can talk, have y'all ever had a challenge, an instance in surgery where you had to say, I need a break, or let's find a better way to do this? As far as you're retracting, okay, a good example. Can I give you an example? Or do y'all? I'm going to give you an example. Several years ago, I was in Alabama on a travel assignment, and I had one of the lead FAs there. He was an RNFA. He told me on the mastectomies, he said, "My tip is to have them drop that drape and come up and stand above their shoulder. Even if the surgeon does not want you to do that, it's your back." I mean, he said, "It's your back, it's your shoulders, and it will be so much easier if you're standing at the patient's shoulder, retracting, and get a stool if you need it." And he gave me that advice. I think he told me that specifically because that particular surgeon was kind of ticky about, he wanted the drapes up and he wanted you to stand a certain way. Was really going to be causing me to reach over like this and pull up. And so I've taken that with me ever since he told me that, and I have done that. So you can respectfully ask if they don't naturally drop the drapes and let you stand above the shoulder. You can say, it's your right to say, "Can we do it this way?" Because it's easier on me. I know the retracting that I'm going to have to do, and it's going to be easier, and we're all going to be happier. Everybody's going to be happier if Kelly is not hurting and during all this retraction. So that's just one example of how to kind of adjust things for your comfort and your well-being.
That's actually really, really good information.
I do the same thing. I mean, most places I go to, they do that. But if not, I ask to. And another thing, because I used to do it from the opposite side of the table, and I just can't do it anymore. And I'm much older now. But also, too, if the patient's a larger patient, now you're reaching up and over, and you got to contort into positions that aren't good. And another thing I started doing was, initially, as we come around the breast in different areas, I would always hold the retractors. But now I'm letting the tech or a tech student that's in there hold it from the other side when I can't, because I'm trying, there's just physically no way I can do it, and I would break down. Another thing I used to do sometimes is maybe in certain laparoscopic cases, I'd stand on the opposite side of the table and reach across and run the camera. I don't do that anymore. I was like, hang on, doc, I need to come around to your side. And I'll stand next to them. It's sort of like in a laparoscopic appendectomy, where most of the time we're standing next to the doctor running the camera. But even in other cases, even if it's going to be for a short time, I would just say I have to come around there. My back won't allow me to reach over anymore. And we have to invest in ourselves, because that's what we have. That's our instrument is our body. So it can't be breaking down. That's why I invest in good shoes and,
Yes.
we have to invest in our bodies. We have to, and I'm not preaching at anybody because I'm the worst at doing this, but like you said, finding that time to exercise and consistently doing it. Consistency is where I break down. I'll start out really good, but then it'll fade over time. But now I've just gotten into making small, consistent changes, 1% better every day. I found this t-shirt that says dials, not switches. I'm not flipping a switch. I'm turning a
I love
dial
that.
slowly.
I love that.
I like that too.
So I put a
That's
sticker on my
really good.
locker. It says that dials, not switches,
that.
small incremental changes, and they add up. But
So the principle there for our young, because I'm just afraid that they're young, because I used to be that way. I would be too embarrassed to speak up. I didn't want to I didn't want to interrupt what the surgeon was doing. But I want to encourage that young listener, that young professional, or the kind of rookie that's coming in. Speak up. You have a voice. And if you are uncomfortable or in pain or really being asked to do something that is kind of almost beyond your physical, there's an easier way to do it. And it is very reasonable to just stop for a second and say, I need to find a better way to do this. I want to help you. I mean, word it however you need to. I want to help you, and I don't want to be fatigued. I want to do what you need me to do. And can I find a better position to get in, or something like that? Just think of a word. But you have to speak up and look out for yourself, for sure. So being aware of those body mechanics, they make us go through all those basic body mechanics really is key. And a lot of times, Jason, I'll see these young residents come in and they'll be just working on closing one trocar site, and they're standing a foot away from the table, bent over, elbows way out. And I'm like, okay, we're going to go take it down to basics. Bring your hips in, stand up straight. Do you need the table raised? These are all some things as a first assistant. Again, if you're left closing, ask to raise the table.
I do it. I'm literally going to say it.
Squared up. You got to square up. Get those hips in. Early when I was training to be a first assistant, I had a nurse that she would come by and push my hips in, because she noticed I was having my hips out. She'd walk by me and say, girl, get those hips in. And she said, you're going to kill your lower back. And it's those kind of things that we need reminded. Until you do have that muscle memory that you do it automatically. But I want to help others like I was helped. I needed those tips and those reminders. And I needed her to come by and say, Kelly, those hips, your butt's sticking out. I'd be like, and pay attention to my body and how I was standing.
I agree. I've learned so many different tips and tricks over the years. Just even with like John and we both were saying, like attracting him across the table, like my elbow used to kind of go out. And as soon as I get there, I get like a burning sensation in my deltoids. So I go, elbows in. Like I tell myself to kind of work with I think the first thing I do is assess how the height is for me. So if I'm working with a surgeon and I'm not the tallest person out there. So I go, all right, I got to have my steps in the room ahead of time on both sides. So I am always going to wear equal height. So I'm not having my hands equal to my shoulders. So my blood flow doesn't actually go numb, but I also be more ergonomic. And ergonomics is so important. I mean, even if I wear a headlight and I'm wearing a headlight to go into certain things, you're using your headlight to look and see, right? But what you have to get yourself into the mindset is the table, the patient should be appropriate. So every time we start surgery, or anytime I'm left to close, and it might be closing for an hour, it might be like a massive closure, but I literally adjust the table to the perfect height. If I have to rotate away from me or rotate towards it, I ask a lot of my anesthesiologists, but you know what? In the long run, the case goes faster. I feel like absolutely perfect. And everyone else, it just works for everybody. I'm like, okay, make sure your Mayo stand comes up or down. I make the table too high. All right, let's drop the table. Let's get this into right knee. and we'll get out of here as soon as possible. Ergonomics is, and I was taught that a long time ago, and it's the most important thing, because just your neck, if you're going to be looking down for a long period of time, there really isn't it's not you're right before, the tension headaches can come, but the neck is not designed to sit like that. So it's very important. It's not even a muscle I can work with. If someone came to me and said my neck is messed up, I don't know. There's more than 2 exercises we're going to do, especially stretching and motion. But like, that's ergonomics. That has to change. You cannot be working with your head looking in a downward position for a long period of time.
Just interrupt for a second. In fact, I've seen that now. A lot of neurosurgeons, they have loops that are right angle loops. So they're standing up, looking with their head in a neutral position, but they're looking down. The loops are actually looking down. It's because of that. Exactly what you said. I just wanted to throw that in there. Yeah.
No, it's perfect. I think we're teachers, right? Medical professional, love teaching these things to early students. Someone taught me a long time ago. It was a CRNA. It was somebody up in the head of the table. It was like, Jason, what are you doing? I'm like, what? I love, what are you meeting? And the table has been so low. I'm like, what? Okay. And they raised it up, and I'm like, oh my God, it's so much easier. So like, my early days, someone was helping me, and that's the first thing I do is if I'm teaching at first assistant the ropes, I say, all right, like, first of all, let's get the patient in our position. Let's look at the different things. Ergonomics, but health and physical. Right? We're all here to just kind of get healthier so we can work better. We can have better days. You're hurting, right? If you're physically hurting, you're not going to perform well. You're going to leave work, not be able to enjoy life, right? It's really sad because you'll see a lot of surgical assistants, surgical technologists walking around with a limp or just, I don't know. I mean, you could be unhappy, overweight, underweight. It's varieties, right? Like there's so many different things. I mean, I sort of raised up. Kelly, how much weight? I mean, I remember you years ago, and you got yourself, I mean, amazing.
I've lost about 50 pounds. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And I feel much better. Yeah.
You look amazing. You have more energy, right?
Yeah.
Life is better. What you need to do, right? This is something I just put a post out on social media. I need you to take 2 25-pound dumbbells the next time you're out anywhere where they're at and walk around with those. Wherever 25-pound machine, walk around wherever you are and then put them down and instantly think, this is where I'm.
Yeah.
I do that personally. I do that with every single client I have. It's an eye opener. It tells you where you've been and I'm never going back. This is amazing.
Right.
It's just that. And then if you're somebody that comes in and you want to lose 25 pounds, I go grab that 25-pound dumbbell. Walk around. Feel how it feels. Feel how it feels in your knees, your hips, your back, everything. Ooh. And then when they put it down, they go, oh my God. Like, can you imagine? Like, that's just weight loss. We're just popping weight loss.
Yeah. That's a stark example.
But you brought up.
Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
Oh no, you brought up something interesting, and if it's time, I'd like to segue into it. Or if not, we can continue talking about other things and bring it up later. But can you give us some exercises that you have that are good for first assistants? Because like you said, holding those retractors. If we have to reduce a hip in a total joint, I mean, we're using a lot of different muscle groups, and a lot of people maybe use their arms when they shouldn't. And so, if you can give us any pointers on that, that would be great.
So if I were to break down just a perfect first assist typical workout, I would start with shoulders to start activating. You want to activate your shoulders no matter what. You can do any dumbbell you prefer. I just can't tell like the general eye. So I would personally start in my shape with a 10 or 15-pound dumbbell and do anterior raises from the front of your body to right about above where your shoulders are. Okay? That starts the anterior part of your deltoid. Then I would do lateral raises. Okay, that does the lateral part of your deltoids. I would switch into there and grab 2 heavier dumbbells and do squats. Now, if you have bad knees, you have to listen to your body. If it's something that I can't do squats, you can do air squats or chair squat, which means you get a chair, you stand up, and you sit back down, you stand back up. Everybody's a little different, but what I'm trying to teach people is a full body workout, right? So just because your legs are just as important as your upper body, you may struggle with your retraction. But everything is a chain, right? Like we're all built in a chain. Our core, it holds it all together. So we have all these appendages, right? All these extremities that are working together. So I would start with shoulders. I would go to legs. I would go to any type of a chest press. If you could do a push-up, if you can't, you can push up off of a countertop. I would go into some type of a core workout. Now, sit-ups are very hard to do, especially for someone that hasn't done them before. There are variations I would love to teach you guys. I can actually put together like a little video that shows kind of generalized, easy things to do. But even like a plank, the plank is hard to do, but it's not impossible. Laying on the floor, your forearms are on the ground, and kind of brace yourself up like a board. And technically, the plank over time is like the best thing you can do because it uses all these little muscles holding on to each other through the entire body. And if you get to like a minute, your whole body is shaking because all these muscles are working together. But the core is it's the structure is what we're designed to do. The core is everything holding on to each other. And if you look online and you do any statistics, if you can maintain a few planks regularly, you're in phenomenal shape as for the average public. I would also finish up with back. So you grab those same dumbbells. You can bend over like a 90 degree, keeping your head looking forward and pull your elbows back for the ceiling. Again, I could show you, I could send a little video clip or look at a human kind of doing the action. And then finish with biceps and triceps, right? You kind of hit like the chest, the shoulders, the back, the core, the legs. Simple exercises that hit all those little muscle chains from retracting to holding a leg up for prepping, to leaning over the table for doing something. You got your lower back. When you do planks, it's not just your anterior, it's all your posterior chain, your lower back. Everything has to work together. It's like a full body workout of doing a plank. Try it. I mean, you guys try it. Let me know. It's big.
It's hard.
Most people get to like a minute and they're just like collapse. Yeah. But I'll tell you now, if you did it 3 days a week and you could only do a minute, next week you're going to do a minute and 15 seconds. And the week after that, you'll probably do a minute and 30 seconds. So it's just doing it, even though it's like, oh, it's horrible. I do it 3 days a week. I do 3 days a week. And all of a sudden, time goes and you're getting stronger. And then after a month, you're like almost a minute and a half to 2 minutes. Then you go and you work. You go to work and you realize that breast reduction wasn't as bad as it was 2 months ago. You're like, I wonder what it's exercise, just doing something regularly. So activating the muscle. Remember we said 80% of Americans have lower back problems, not orthopedic, not herniated disc, none of that stuff. It's literally you don't activate the lower back and you pull it. And then you're walking around all tweaked from the week, right? A couple of days. It's because you don't use it. So if you start to activate the muscle and using it, it has a less likely chance to nada or cause it. Because nodding is basically like scarring in the muscle fiber. That was a fact. That is literally, you can look at online, 80% of Americans have lower back problems because they're not using it. They're not engaging the muscle. It's not hard. When I started exercising, I did 15 minutes on elliptical over every like 4 days a week. That was all I could do. So it progressed. I was like, well, I walked past the tread machine. I was like, I'm never, ever gonna run on that tread machine, but I'm gonna try this elliptical. And one day I would like to try the tread. It becomes addicting. I don't know if maybe I'm different. I feel like I'm not special. Yeah, by the way, like I don't have anything that nobody else has. Like I'm not. I seriously, like I'm your average person. There's nothing different between me and the next person. I got fed up with the way I felt, and I just want to make the change. I changed it, and now I feel like I'm better helping people and teaching people and being part of like motivating our youth or our coworkers or anybody around me. I want to motivate them to feel better and be better.
Let me ask you a question then. When you're talking about those lateral raises or the straight raises, the straight anterior raises, how many times should you do that and how?
3 sets. I like to do 10 to 12 reps because I feel like anything past 12, 15, 20, you're not really doing enough. And if it's 8, like that's too much. You don't want to strain anything. So 10 to 12 reps is appropriate. 3 sets of each. And that is enough. When you go hypertrophy, which is building muscle, which I have been trying to do, you challenge the body, right? So you guys know this as well as I. The human body is incredible, right? The mind is what stops us. So your body can do more than your mind can do. But the challenge that you put on your body by forcing it to do more than it should do is the reason why it changes to hypertrophy. If you stress the body and the body says, how do we overcome? And that's what builds muscle. So you're just shocking them. You're just working out. They're like, what are you doing? that hurts. Why are you doing the push
Right.
up? But that's what happens. The
So how
body
much weight would you recommend somebody starts out with? Is there a way to pick what's
Well,
right for you, like something that's just heavy enough for you to
well,
lift,
yeah.
or
So you're gonna start to just get to 10 to
Mhm.
12, and at 10, 11, and 12 feel appropriate.
Mhm.
That's how. So every single client I train, I tell them we're gonna experiment. I have a general idea of what that 5 foot, 150 male or female.
Mhm.
I know exactly where they should be, but everyone's a little different. But I want them to say to me, 12 was pretty good, but you got the 12. That's a good start. Again, once you get to 12 and it's like, I could probably do more, you go up a tiny day. Always little increments. Always. So it's hard to gauge. 5 pound dumbbells, 10 pound, they don't really go up in big varieties. There are
Mhm.
nice home dumbbells that go up by like 2.5. They're like they call power blocks, but I mean they're expensive. Just if you just start off with something light, it just once you get motivated, it's an addiction. It's just like
Mhm.
anything else in the world. We're all addicted to something. We love helping people. We love doing this. We either love food. If you're emotionally connected to food, it's hard. I was emotionally connected to eating. Now I just love feeling good when I exercise. You guys are medical people. Look up myokines. Okay, and that's a medical fact. When you contract muscle with exercise, the body
Mhm.
releases myokines into the bloodstream. The myokines actually break the blood barrier, and it actually makes you feel good. Endorphins, right? They say the word
Mhm.
endorphins.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
myokines, if you look it up, you're gonna they're called miracle molecule. Basically, makes you feel good. So if you guys, any of you have done, anybody who we're talking to on this podcast, anytime you do an exercise or anytime you do some type of workout, when you finish, you already feel good.
You would
Your brain is chemical, your body's chemically
True.
releasing this, and you're like,
Right.
oh, I'm still feeling good.
You can't
No,
argue
Right.
that.
no one has
Yeah.
ever come to my
No.
gym, walked in. I ask every single person, they come walking into my gym for a session, a workout session. And I go, what's wrong? And they go, I'm tired. I'm still doing it. It's just stress, work. And I go, remember how you feel. And as soon as they're walking out the door,
Mhm.
I go, hey, what do you remember when you walked in? And they go, holy moly. Like, I feel like $1,000,000. I go,
It's
watch
great. It's
on the ride
true.
home. Watch on the ride home. When you drive it home, you're like, smiley or,
Mhm.
man,
Yeah.
this is key.
It's
That's
true.
true.
We got to
I've been-
mix this together. I wanted to do this. I'm thinking about doing this on the national conference.
Well,
Yeah, it's a
I
good
was
idea.
yeah, and I was
Okay.
gonna and I just wanted to segue off what Jason was saying and tell our listeners, I personally think that a personal trainer, a one-on-one personal trainer is the best way to go. If you can fit that in your budget, I encourage you to find someone,
Mhm.
even if it's for like 6 weeks. Even if you say, okay, I want to get a personal trainer for 6 weeks, I want them to come up with to consult with me and give me a workout plan for me, for my body, for my
Mhm.
lifestyle. I think that's an excellent way to go. Jason might do online consulting as well, so we can give his information. He can
Mhm.
yay or nay that in a moment. But another tip I want to give our listeners, just because I've experienced it myself, is we're in the world of resources here. We really have no excuse. And especially with the advent of AI and Chat GPT, which I haven't even utilized yet, but my son-in-law was telling me the other day about how you can tell Chat GPT to customize your workout. I
Mm.
would personally want to go to a one-on-one person like Jason first before I did that. But an app that I use on the regular is the FitOn app, FITON. It is completely free. It's one of the best, and not to even to mention, you can get on YouTube and find just about any workout video you want. But the FitOn app is free. I've had personal success. That's one I can come in here, flip on. There's different trainers on there. The workouts tell you how long the workout is, the intensity of the workout, and to what Jason was just saying about the weights. And when John was asking questions about that, I have done some like you think I'm not going to get a good arm workout not using any weights, but let me just try it. And let me tell you,
Mhm.
when that girl has me keep my arms up in the air doing all these things and my arms and you feel those muscles burning, that is a
Mhm.
excellent workout. And I haven't picked up the first weight. Now I have some
Mhm.
weights up to my heaviest is 8 pounds. And I found some really good little hand weights on Amazon too that were not expensive. And they have little slides on the end. So I think they go from like 2 pounds up to maybe 4.5 or 5 pounds with the little slide addition. So there's some things you can do if you just want to do it at home. I encourage you to do a personal trainer, and even if it's for a short time, and get yourself a good regimen going. And I'm preaching to myself. I need to do that myself because I need to get consistency in my life. But you can feel when you're working those shoulders and you feel that, and let your body tell you what you need, because if the end of a long day or a long case, whatever's hurting, that's probably what you need to work. That's probably an area of your body that you need to strengthen. So we want to just kind of look at these principles, these basic principles, and take care of yourself. We need to keep ourselves up so that we can take care of our patients and do the best that we can and help our surgeons and all that good stuff.
Can I interject for a sec?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the goals also in our lives, being in the medical fields, is trying to stay away from being on medicine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cholesterol, blood pressure, not perhaps live in this state of like, you have to know a doctor every couple months to get your medicines. So like changing your lifestyle is going to change those factors. Now, yes, there might be an anomaly where you're genetically have high cholesterol because of the family heritage, but I had personally gotten off of all the medicines that I was on prior to getting into my lifestyle. And I think that's just a very important thing for everybody out there in the medical field. We're medical people that understand medicine, and and our job is putting people ahead of ourselves, right? Like we take care of people, but why aren't we putting ourselves first?
Right. We never take care of ourselves.
We don't. No one does. It's just, it amazes me, right? So it's just that it's the same concept. I might have said this on the last podcast. It's the same concept of being on a plane, and God forbid that the turbulence comes and the masks so down. Like telling you, put your mask on first before you help or assist somebody else.
Yep.
We don't think of it like that. We're medical professionals. We go, we grind, we work hard. We put people ahead of us. We're taking care of people. We're saving lives, and we're not taking care of ourselves. I don't want to sound like I'm selfish, but I am taking care of me so I can properly take care of other people. Once I changed that mindset, it was game over, game change. I mean,
that's a great point, because we want to keep doing what we enjoy doing and keep helping people, but we need to be fit and healthy first. So
take care of ourselves. John, I have something really good. You want to do something really cool?
Yeah, sure.
Check this out. Ready? I use this analogy a lot. I tell people, when you get up every morning and you have a headache or you don't feel well, any day, it doesn't matter what it is, your stomach hurts, you go to work. You go to work, John, when you have a headache? I tell people the same thing. When you wake up and you have a headache, but you don't feel good, you go work out. And most people say, no, I don't.
Right,
so I say, so you need to be accountable. Like you're accountable for a stranger, a corporation. Yes, you need money. Yes, we need to make money. But we get up and we do things for people, and we don't do the same for us. I get up, I don't feel like working out, I still work out. I get up, it's just whatever it might be, I still do it because I treat myself accountable like I treat my employer accountable. I'm the show for work. I'm the show for myself.
Yeah.
And people listen to that and they're like, damn, we are.
That's a great.
It's
a great analogy. And it's a great reminder too, that you're worth it. Be accountable to yourself. Like I'm doing it. And like I said a little while ago, even if I give myself permission to just do 10 minutes, Kelly, it always goes longer because you know what? I start feeling better. As I'm working out, I start feeling better.
It's true. You guys
if I could say one thing to the men out there, and I don't mean to single out the men, but I can only speak for myself when I say this, but I think that before you start any kind of exercise routine, and this is always the caveat or disclaimer people say, is consult with your doctor. But I think if you're a male in this profession, you need to see a doctor. You need a really good physical. You need really good labs drawn to see what your cholesterol is, what your hormone levels are too, what your testosterone levels are, because as a society, with all the crap that we ingest and all the plastics that are in our food and stuff, and our food is stored in, it really drives down your testosterone if you're a guy. And I think that if you need to be on testosterone replacement therapy, then that's something you and your doctor need to discuss. But I would tell you that it would do you a world of good There were studies out years ago that said people were dying of heart attacks for being on testosterone, but that's been completely debunked and disproven that actually with your hormone levels in the right range, and we're talking normal levels, we're not talking super physiologic levels, we're not talking bodybuilder levels, we're talking whatever the range is and how you feel. Because I can speak for myself. When I started on TRT, man, it was like night and day. I mean, I was coming home at 3:00 in the afternoon and falling asleep on the couch, getting up to eat dinner, then crawling upstairs to bed and going to sleep. I was tired all the time. I was moody. I was just, things were not going well. And once I started on that, it was like a total game changer. And it doesn't matter what my number is, it's how I feel. So, but I always stay in the upper quartile range. I never go above that. So I'm not in bodybuilder zones, but I think that that's important. Constant monitoring of your labs because, the food we eat, unless you're on a completely healthy lifestyle, you just need to check that. Just like we check our car, I take my car in for maintenance. We need to check ourselves and make sure that and that goes for women too. I mean,
I was just gonna say that,
but I don't know. I'm not a female, so I don't know what that routine would be. But for me, I have a doctor that I work with, and I check my labs all the time. In fact, I'm due for mine right now that I'm going to do next week when I'm off on my day off to go get the labs drawn. But I need to keep up on that stuff because when that's in top shape, then I'm feeling better, and that makes doing these things a lot easier too. So that's just my caveat.
Yeah.
And I don't take a lot of supplements either, but I take a few that I need to take. So
yeah, we have a front row seat. We have a front row seat to see people who put themselves last.
Exactly.
We see people every day in that operating room that have not taken care of themselves. They have not seen doctors. They have not been proactive with their health at all. And it's really makes me sad sometimes, frankly. I mean, I see people in there that are my age, younger, and it does not look that way.
Correct.
It's so I'm glad, John, you brought that up because really it's a wholeness. It's a whole wellness picture. We've got to look at the big picture and not just physical fitness and taking care of ourselves, our musculoskeletal system, but everything, everything.
Well,
It's been a while since you've gone and had a general checkup from a general practitioner or an internal medicine doctor. Go get yourself checked, do your screenings, it's a whole picture. So I'm glad you brought that up.
You brought up a great point too, Kelly, is that how many times have we seen, and we know the statistics, 25% of people with fractured hips die within a year. And every time I see those patients, the ones that do well, and I'll give you a perfect example. My friend's mother, she fell, she broke her hip and her wrist, but she's an active person, man. She bounced back like that. We see these people that have no muscle tone. They don't work out. They're sedentary. They don't do well afterwards. My friend Pat always says, motion is lotion. The people that are active.
Yeah,
when I worked in
that.
Aspen, Colorado, we were doing ACL reconstructions on 60-year-old patients. And they looked like they were 40 because they were dense muscle. They were dense bone. And we see these patients when we do total hips on them. Some of them have really shitty cancellous bone and some of them have really dense cancellous bone. And it's all in their lifestyle. Axial loading is what helps with that. Things like that.
Yeah.
So
if you statistically look or do the numbers on osteopenia, right? The precursor to osteoporosis, that's where you're generally seeing your hip fractures and your hips up. And the number one attributor to reducing osteopenia is heavy load lift.
Yep.
You live it up. You
true.
live it up. Medical books, all of it. They do make medicine. People don't want to try to listen, but they sometimes have to. And that all goes by your doctor's prescription. But 90% of the females that I have that are over 50, 60 years old that have precursor or have osteopenia, maybe have osteoporosis, we're doing heavy training, heavy lifting, progressive overload on the joint, and the bones are regrowing. And their scans the next year or two are better than they were when they started.
So you can reverse it. You can literally reverse the process, y'all. I know.
It takes, I have 2 or 3 clients who are in the same window. Now, what Kelly said and what you said before, John, the same goes with male as female. I have a ton of 40-plus female clients. I think most of my clientele are 50-50, but probably 70-30 female. And their hormones and their body, they need just as much focus. It is incredible. I have learned more within the last 3 years about the physiological aspect of the female body or postmenopausal.
Yeah.
And there are physicians that are doing female hormone replacement therapy. And I'm like, holy moly.
Yes.
The general public goes to the doctor with all of these side effects and postmenopausal, and the doctors are prescribing like mental, like Lexapro. They're
Sure.
they're treating the
Antidepressants, yeah.
depression instead of telling them your hormones are out of whack. We need to fix your hormone. No,
Mhm.
we're gonna give you something make you feel bad. It's not right. Whatever.
No,
we're not gonna
no, it's
dive
not.
into it.
Not.
We're
Yeah,
not gonna
well,
dive into it, but
No. Yeah.
something to
all
think
right,
about. Food for
That's another
thought.
show, maybe.
Food for
my
thought.
clients are feeling
Yeah.
phenomenal, physically getting their body back in shape. Just a part of
Mhm.
it.
Yep.
But
Just
that's-
the plain fact is. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
The plain fact is, and we see it every day, people that are active and healthy, they do better. They bounce back faster from surgery. They have less complications. And just to caveat a little bit, piggyback on what I said about not normal hormone levels, when I was at the Maddox conference last year, they talked about septic patients. And when they put these septic men, obviously not women, but they put them on testosterone and raised it to a healthy level, they did much better. They got better faster. And the treatments actually worked. They didn't succumb to the sepsis. So, but for myself, I can tell one thing that's been a game changer for me is adding collagen into my coffee in the morning.
Mhm. I
My
do that,
knees
yeah.
don't hurt like they used to. My thumbs, joints don't hurt. My shoulders don't. And that's just, and it's tasteless. I put it in my coffee. I mean, this is not an endorsement. They don't pay us to say this. But I use
No,
Bubs
no.
Natural. I use Bubs Natural. The guy was a Navy SEAL. It was Glenn Daugherty. He was killed in Benghazi, but he had started this company before he died. But it's just pure, really good bovine collagen.
And you get to jump on your
And
protein intake. I'm having that cup of coffee anyway. So
Right,
there's 13
exactly.
grams
And
of protein in
it's
my scoop of
tasteless and
collagen. I was like,
odorless.
oh,
Yep.
wow, I'm getting a good
Yeah.
What
Tasteless
about
and odorless. It's great.
our connected tissues? All of our connected tissue, all of
They're
our
right.
everything.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
collagen based. We're all it's connecting
Yeah.
everything. We
Yep.
see it when we do plastics. When I'm doing plastics, I could that, oh my God, this is Jason's collagen. You can tell that their tone, their density is not as tight as it was. It is interesting. The human body is amazing.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
learning. I learn about it every day. I'm always learning. We all are.
I've got a friend of mine that's a retired Tier 1 operator from New Zealand, and he tells me that if you have an injury, when you're taking collagen and you add vitamin C to that will actually help shuttle the collagen to where the injury is. So those little caveats, I think, like if my shoulders are sore or if I hurt myself pull the muscle doing something or whatever, I just add that to my routine. But
Yeah.
that's just something I do, and it's up to, we're not endorsing that you do it, but I find it helps me tremendously. And something I do too is I use a thing called real ketones. Again, we're not for them, but it's just beta hydroxybutyrate. Your body makes ketones. It's what helps you lose weight, helps what metabolizes the fat. But not only that, I find for me it reduces anxiety. It gives me mental clarity. And so I only usually have 1 cup of coffee a day, which is down from an entire pot a day down to 1 cup of coffee a day. So when I take the ketones at work, it like wakes me up for that afternoon like lull that I get into. I drink one of those and I'm alert and awake, and it reduces my anxiety level. And there's a lot of benefits to it. There's also some weight loss benefits too, but there's a lot of physiologic benefits to it. So, yeah, I really appreciate you coming on the show and giving us those pointers.
For sure. And we're gonna post your information, John. Jason,
yeah.
you'll give John. And so if people want to reach out and talk to you about maybe coming up with a plan for them at whatever packages you have, I don't know, but
It's
you can
very
discuss
easy.
that with them. And again, that's my preference, is just to work with somebody one-on-one like that. But
Yeah.
I hope we've given our
good.
listeners some good tips, and I hope that y'all are heed our advice. We're all kind of in the same age range, and we've been doing this a long time, and we're good people to be giving advice about it. And I'm proud of the fact that I, thank the Lord, have not had any detrimental neck or spine injuries, and I want to keep it that way. I really do. I'm trying to avoid having the C-spine surgeries and I just don't want any of that. I just feel like once you breach that, it's kind of, I want to keep doing this for as long as I can. I love it. So when you have a passion, and I want to feel good, and I want to enjoy my life, and so that's just gonna benefit you to kind of take care of yourself. And
as they say, you would rather be the oldest at the gym than the youngest in the nursing home.
yeah,
Ooh, there you go. Never heard that. That's true though.
You ever remember more?
Yeah.
That's
I
my
like that.
goal.
That's good. Yeah.
That's my life goal.
listen,
old
I
guy
have no
goes.
shame in the gym. I don't care. Y'all, I don't care what I look like. I can look like a homeless person going up in there. I'm on that treadmill and I'm working and I'm sweating and I'm doing good at it. So,
But I think everybody thinks that
gonna be
too.
cute.
I'm self-conscious when I go to the gym, but I realize I'm just like everybody else, man. I'm just trying to get
I've
better.
gotten,
You know, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not Mr. America, but I'm
There's
just
no-
trying
there-
to get healthier.
There is no shaming at the gym. Every single soul in that place is doing something better than themselves. That's all
got
that
their own
matters.
Right.
battle.
They're all
That's
there for
all
the
that
same
matters.
reason.
Mhm.
Exactly. And I would say
That's
if you're
good.
new out there, if you're a new surgical assistant and you're new at a hospital, check in to see what resources they have there. A lot of times you get a free gym membership
Good tip.
at whatever
Yeah.
wellness center that the hospitals have, because they realize now some will give bonuses if your health improves. You know, they tie that with your physics, your
Insurance.
physicals, your yearly physicals. The better you do, the healthier you get. Maybe you get some kind of bonus involved. I've been in hospitals that have done
That's
that.
a good
And a
tip.
lot of times they have a
Mhm.
wellness center with a personal trainer, and it's free because you work at the hospital, or it's a nominal fee that they can take out of your paycheck
Yep.
every week. That's
Yep.
not as expensive as maybe doing a Planet Fitness or a LA Fitness or some other kind of Gucci gym somewhere. So
That's
Yep.
right. That's great.
Yeah.
Great information,
Okay.
John.
All right, everybody. Well, if that wraps it
Yeah,
up,
thank you
guys,
so
we don't have
much.
anything else to add. We're going to post those links onto here. Hopefully you can find that. And we appreciate your time and listening
Thank
and
you.
wish you health and happiness and strength until our next episode.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thanks
All
for
right.
having the balls.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
My pen.
Thanks for
All right.
listening today. We invite you to like and subscribe to this channel and leave a comment if you'd like. Feel free to look us up on Facebook at the Surgical Assistant Podcast or email us at thesurgicalassistantpodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, content of this podcast is in no way intended for diagnosing or treating surgical conditions. No patient-specific information is shared. All HIPAA guidelines will be adhered to.